Now, I know I've not been doing a lot of post-match reactions recently, and that's mainly because I don't think a lot of the games we've had recently have necessarily mattered. But I think this one did matter today for a multitude of reasons. But firstly, I think this one mattered because of league position. And we're playing a West Ham side today who, if we'd have even drawn with, we stay above them in the Premier League table. But because we lose, firstly, West Ham go above us in the league table. But secondly, we drop even further down. And the reason why that's important is prize money. And I know people get a bit carried away with certain things at the moment. And yes, we're kind of fortunate that Spurs lost as well. But every single position you finish in the Premier League is worth millions and millions of pounds. And West Ham going above us affects our ability to do deals in the transfer market in the summer. Because it restricts the amount of money we'll have available to us should we finish where we finished. So, in that regard, this result is appalling. Furthermore, thankfully again because Spurs lost, it means at least we're now not 17th, but we're still 16th. So us and Spurs are now technically the worst Premier League sides in the division. And the reason I say that is because the last 2 seasons in a row, the Championship sides have been relegated. So for the last 24 months, there's been the same 17 Premier League sides. And if Spurs had got any sort of result in their game today, we would now be the worst Premier League side in the division with 2 games to go. And that's unacceptable. And that's why this game mattered. We had to put a statement out today that we are better than at least some of the other teams in the Premier League. And we've lost at home to West Ham, who are below us and are now above us. That's not acceptable. And the amount of the level of performance from some of those players today were not Premier League level performances. And the other reason why it matters is because it's about building momentum towards this Europa League final. And there were players on the pitch today that half of them are going to play in that Europa League final, and the other half should have been trying to fight for a place to be in the starting 11 for that Europa League final. And we've played, 96 to 100 minutes across that game? And our biggest goal threat was Harry Maguire. And he only played 40 minutes, and all of them were at centre-back. And he was our biggest goal threat today. We had Højlund, we had Mount, we had Garnacho, we had Ahmad, we had Bruno, we had Eriksson. I'm definitely missing other players. We had Mainu. All on the pitch at different times in that match. And our biggest goal threat was Harry Maguire from centre-back, who only played 40 minutes. What is going on? And obviously the reason why Harry Maguire came on the pitch in the first place is because it looks like Lenny Yoro's picked up another injury, which, as things stand, we don't know the extent of. But judging by the fact that he just sat down with no one around him and the physios immediately walked him down the tunnel, it doesn't look good. And he's been our best defender in these European games over the last few weeks. I know, again, Maguire's had his moments at the other end of the pitch. But in terms of the performance as a defender and then progressing the ball forward, our best defender has been Lenny Yoro. So if he's injured, that's a massive blow as well. But I want to go back to what I was talking about in terms of our attacking players in that football match. Absolutely disgraceful. Like, Kobbie Mainoo, you wouldn't have even known he was on the pitch. He was that bad. He just disappeared for multiple minutes at a time in that football match. He was supposed to be one of the 2 number 10s. He just barely got on the ball. When he got on the ball, he gave it away. This is a player we were talking about as a must include in the England squad 12 months ago. What's happened to him over the last few weeks? Like, he's come back into the United team. He had his moment against Lyon, and it was like he's had that moment, and now he just thinks he's back. It's a bit of the Rashford syndrome. He's come back from his injury, he's had his moment, and now it's like he's slacking off again. Ugarte in the midfield. The second goal, the first goal was bad enough. But we've conceded enough goals like that this season. The second goal is one of the worst goals we've conceded all season. And I'm going to put that on Ugarte. I'm not going to just put it on Ugarte, but his contribution to it is horrendous. I'll go through the whole goal. We get the counter-attack. Ahmad's on the ball. He's driving forward. Mason Mount makes a really good run out beside him. Ahmad has 3 options. He either feeds the ball down the line to Mount, he either comes inside using Mount's run and then attacks the space himself, or option 3, which is the one that he takes, which is stop, turn round and pass it backwards. That in itself is bad enough. What Ugarte then does when he gets it is even worse, because he could have very easily just passed it back to Ahmad. He could have gone for what Bruno probably would have done, which is go for the Hollywood ball over the top to Mount, who was still in those acres of space. Or he can do what he did, which again was the third option, which was to stop, turn round, and try and pass it backwards. The problem was, there was no one he could pass it backwards to. So he decides to lean backwards into a player that's not even caught up with him yet to make a challenge on him in Wan-Bissaka, and he just falls over. It's embarrassing. He loses it. West Ham breakaway. There's a sort of like deflection in there. It goes out wide to Wan-Bissaka. There are 4 Manchester United players between Wan-Bissaka and Jarrod Bowen. And Wan-Bissaka doesn't even make a clean connection on the ball across. But every single one of them lets it go. And Bowen puts the ball in the back of the net and we're 2-0 down. It is an absolute disgraceful goal to concede. And it just sums up the mentality of these players when they can't be arsed. And that's what it was today. They could not be arsed. And that's why I'm making this video. And that's why I'm so pissed off. Because I think this was a really important game for the reasons I've already outlined. And they couldn't be arsed. And there were 70,000 Manchester United fans in that ground today. There were barely any empty seats. And they expect a performance. And there was no good performances from any of the players on that pitch today. They were an absolute disgrace. Now we'll go back to the attacking again. Because I'm going to talk about Rasmus Højlund. Because I've tried to defend him as and where I can. But today I can't defend him. Because today he's had the chances. And he's not taken them. 2 absolutely gilt-edged opportunities, and he's not put either of them away. The first one, you can sort of forgive him a little bit. Ahmad gets the ball, he plays him in. It's on his right foot. We all know he's left-footed, but we all know that he has got a decent finish, and he has relatively good awareness. All he has to do is try and lift it over the goalkeeper. I would defend it more if he tried to lift it over the goalkeeper. You think of the Miss Garnacho ad last week, where he tried to lift it over the goalkeeper. He should have done better, but he attempted the right shot. Højlund's tried to slip it under Areola when he's already sliding along the floor. He's never going to score. If you try and lift it and miss, you can go, it's a bad miss, but at least he tried it the right thing. It's a terrible finish. It's just straight at him. And the second one, right, firstly, I just want to say on the second one, it would have been disallowed because the assist would have come right off Harry Maguire's forearm, dropping at Højlund, so it would have been a direct assist that led to a goal. So the goal would have been ruled out for handball. Irrespective of that, he's half a yard out, and he's hit it straight at Areola. No composure, no conviction. He just assumes he's scored and side foots it. Put the ball in the back of the net. We were 2-0 down, and you're trying a nonchalant little finish because you think you've scored. That is unacceptable at any level, let alone at the Premier League level. Not good enough from Rasmus Højlund today. And like I say, I can't say anything about any of the others. The amount of players we had on the pitch that could have scored today and just did nothing. And like I said, the person who caused Areola the most trouble in that game was Harry Maguire. A couple of really half chances, but he was a threat from set pieces. He was causing problems for the West Ham defence, which is more than can be said for any of the other 7 or 8 different attackers we had on that football pitch at various times across the game. It's a real bad look for Manchester United. We are now 16th in the Premier League table. Our last 2 games are Chelsea and Aston Villa, who are both trying to get in the Champions League. We'll lose both of them games. The likelihood is now we finish 17th in the Premier League table. We end the season as the worst Premier League side in the Premier League. Yes, we've got the Europa League final to look forward to, but you can't play like that. At least Spurs, when they lost to Palace today, they changed near enough their entire team. But as I've mentioned, we've had players play today that will start that Europa League final. We've had players today that should be fighting for a place in that Europa League final, and not a single one of them has put in a good performance, even down to near enough the last kick of the game from Victor Lindelof, who, if Euro is injured and De Ligt is injured, is more than certainly starting that Europa League final. To give that ball away to James Ward-Prowse with about a minute to go, another horrendous mistake from him, which if you're giving that to a Dominic Solanke or a Heung-min Son, that ball's going in the back of the net and we're conceding. It's really worrying times. Do I think we can bounce back in the game against Chelsea? No, because I think we'll play the most reserve side possible against Chelsea because we'll want all of our first team players fit and available for that Europa League final. So, I don't know. I just don't know. The only thing we can be grateful for today is that Spurs also lost. So they're still below us in the league table. And they've also failed to build any momentum towards the Europa League final. But like I said, they basically changed their entire team. We only changed half. So, As always, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. It's another humiliating day as a Manchester United fan. But we move. We have a final to look forward to in 10 days' time. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you very soon.